AMA. Thank you guys for joining. Amazing week. What an amazing week it was. We had a short holiday on Monday. We released a new website. One of our CEO holders finished selling, and Sell Token just rocketed, right? I mean, just new highs, new all-time high for Sell. Amazing. Thank you guys for your support. And the community basically voted both thumbs up for the new website, right? So some people don't like orange, but most people, I think, like what we've done. And we tried to accommodate many points of view, both from a marketing standpoint as well as from the world community. I think Dutch people love this because this is like their national color, but some other people like blue, which is my favorite color, but I still love the website. So I wanted to talk about a few things today. It's a special day. Today's September 11th, and it's a special day for me because in September 11th of 2000, my best friend actually died in the World Trade Center. We worked together, and he was supposed to come to the office, and then he decided to go to this conference, Windows on the World, the top floor of the tower, and I think it was Tower 1. And obviously what happened, and when the buildings collapsed, actually hundreds of thousands of people got stuck in the subways, and there was no way to communicate. And what I decided to do was to try to solve that problem. His name is Hagai Sheffi, and he was a great guy who, like me, immigrated from Israel, came here, built a future for himself, and his life got cut short. And so what I decided to do was basically make sure that if something happens in the subway, you will always have communication, at least enable people to communicate with each other. Went to the MTA and tried to convince them to basically open all that infrastructure, 300 underground stations, to enable to get a signal, because the signal just doesn't go through concrete, doesn't go through steel, and you need to put special antennas underground to make sure that the signal actually propagates from above ground to underground. And what we've done is it took 5 years to convince the operator of the subway to do this. And they eventually gave us a license after opening a bid to 400 different companies. And it took another 7 years to build it. It cost over $350 million to build it. And now 8 million people get the service for free. So we got the phone companies to pay for it, and got 8 million New Yorkers, tri-state area people, to use it every day and get it for free. So then something else happened on September 11th of 2017. And Zach, who's with us, is going to show you a few slides that most of you have not seen. So let's go to the second slide if we can. Well, let's go for the first slide first. I don't know if are you showing it now? Because I can't see the.
No, here, give me a second to. So why was it so hard for you to get the MTA to even allow access? Why do you think they were so resistant?
They had the ridiculous arguments like somebody can use the signal to put a bomb, or what if people talked on the phone and they walked off the platform and they fell into the rails because they weren't paying attention. Every excuse in the world besides how do we enable people to communicate, or at least know that there's an emergency or what to do, give them instructions. Like all of that stuff was a much lower priority than every excuse out there. But obviously today we live with our phones 24/7, and it looks completely ridiculous. But back in 2001, it was not, it wasn't obvious that our lives are going to be basically completely saturated. There will be, at least our kids will be looking at the screen 24/7, living on that screen, right? So that Transit Wireless, which is the company that we created, has been operating service And we've been adding more and more services. We just added 5G support. We've added, again, free Wi-Fi, and so on. All right, let's go to the first slide.
Okay, all right, I'm sharing my screen now, and we are on the first slide with the sell token price.
All right, so yeah, so if you look at the last week, sell token is up 50% against ETH, right? Almost 50%. And ETH is, as you know, rocketed. So doing better than ETH, doing much better than Bitcoin. Celsius now over a year, I think up 800% versus Bitcoin. It is an extraordinary feat, right? And maintaining that continuously, being up against both of those coins. And again, that shows you, again, the power of the community, the power of the Celsius flywheel, and our ability to continuously generate both income and profits with this business model. So go to the next slide. And this is the cover of ICO Crowd, which was the first magazine. It came out on September 11th, 2017. And this was like the first ICO magazine that basically was used, listed some of the top projects of the time. And go to the next slide. One of the projects that they covered was Celsius. Back then we called it the credit coin, which was obviously not the right name, but if you look at the write-up, you will see that our business model and everything we talked about stays true to everything we're doing today. We haven't changed the business model at all. And again, the idea behind Celsius, which we launched in September and then launched the ICO in November, was all about empowering the community and all about changing the direction of the crypto industry, right? Changing the direction of how we scale this by focusing on the people that should benefit most, which is, again, the community versus the toll collectors or the exchanges, all the people who were hot and heavy back at the end of 2017. And the reason I wanted to show you all of this was because we're facing the same thing now. We're facing the same kind of bubble that we faced in 2017 with the ICO boom. It just, this time it's called DeFi, and everybody thinks that trees are going to grow to the sky and nothing bad is going to happen. But obviously we know that there's always going to be winners and losers. And if you come to this party late and you think you're going to bet on winners, and it's it's always going to be red, you're going to find out that that's not how things work out. So I wanted to stress that point because it's definitely something that most people just don't pay enough attention to. So next slide. So basically you have to think of crypto as a migration, right? I view this in like as 3 phases. So if you're in your comfort zone, meaning most of your assets are in dollars, right? You feel that is completely safe. That $100 bill is the best thing you can own. But really, it's probably today, it's the most dangerous thing you can own. So all of your dollar assets already started losing value because of inflation. And we talk about massive inflation. We're not talking about like a little bit of inflation, right? And as I said in the last AMA, if Warren Buffett is running away from the dollar, why are you holding the dollar? So the question is really, how do you migrate from there? What are the areas that really extend your ability to earn yield at the same time also decouple yourself from the dollar? And the options are, again, earning, investing in gold, right? Gold has basically performed very well as a store of value. Putting some money in stable coins to actually earn high yield. Like today at Celsius, you can earn up to 15% on Tether or USDC or other coins. And again, Bitcoin is the king of that diversification, right? It gives you both asset protection as well as huge opportunity for appreciation. So those are things that you really need to think about hard. I know it's very hard for most people to detach or decouple from the dollar. But I'm telling you that if you look at this 10 years from now, you'll be saying to yourself, gosh, I still left too many things in dollars. I should have moved even more, right? So for each person, that number varies. For one person, it's 5%. For one person, it's 10. For another person, it's half of my holdings, right? Like I think Pump famously, talks about how he put half of his assets in Bitcoin, and many other people are kind of taking the same view. So Novograd's, I think, is something like 30% in crypto, and so I'm closer to like 80% in crypto. Okay, so I would say that 80% of my assets today are not dollar denominated. And so moving on, next slide. So Celsius flywheel, again, is a very, very unique thing. I can assure you that no one today has anything like Celsius, right? I mean, I know there's a lot of copycats and a lot of people are claiming to do things even better. But in the last 30 days, for example, we brought in $100 million of new deposits. This is net deposit. So probably we brought in something like 200 million and 100 withdrawals, and the net was 100 million. So we're at about $1.2 billion in deposits, and you will not see all these fluctuations. Like you saw half of Uniswap balance disappear overnight and move somewhere else, right? You're not going to ever see that with Celsius, right? So the stability that we have allows us to basically do things that no one else can, right? And there are many other people who are attempting to create this, may shower tokens on you and have some of these deposits for a short period of time, but then they lose them, right? So more users, more deposits, more loans, more interest income. And when we have more interest income, we buy more sell token, we buy more ETH, we buy more Bitcoin because we have to pay you interest in that. And we raise the rates, right? So almost every week, Celsius has been raising rates. And this week we're raising the rate on ETH. So your platinum holder on ETH, you'll be earning 6.54% on ETH. I think it's our highest rate on ETH ever. I know that on Bitcoin, it is our highest rate. Stablecoin, our highest rate ever. And that is because, again, we're keeping our promise of giving you guys up to 80% of all of the revenue. It's not profit, okay? Binance gives you 20% of their profits, right? We're giving you 80% of our revenues. If you sold a sandwich in the store and somebody gave you $10 for the sandwich, and you earned $1, Binance will give you 20 cents. With us, right, we will give you $8 out of the $10 because that's what the revenue is, right? The components to build a sandwich are $2, you make $8, and so on. So huge difference between those two. So there isn't anyone in the industry today. There isn't a single company that gives you 80% of their revenues. Moving on. So this is a slide from my 2017 presentation. And if you don't believe me, again, you know we stopped using the animals in 2018. So you know this is pretty old. And in the slide, I was talking about crossing the chasm and what will basically fill the gap, right? After Bitcoin, after Ethereum. And my bet was stable coins, right? And back then, that sounded ridiculous. I mean, the total capitalization of stablecoin, I think all of USDT was something like $700 million. Today it's $13 billion, right? So people were very skeptical about this, and they were looked at me in a weird way. They were like, forget about it, like we're gonna have NFTs, we're gonna have security tokens. Everybody was betting everything besides stablecoins. So I think if you look at the bets that Celsius took of running on the Ethereum platform, going big for stable coins, focusing on the community, having no fees, no withdrawal fees, no origination fees, right? Just now, like 2 or 3 years later, you're just starting to see everybody else trying to do the same things, right? So I'm not promising we will always be right the first time. We do make mistakes, but to start a good company with a lot of following, you really need to make very, very few mistakes, right? And if you're in a startup and you make 1 or 2 mistakes, usually you just go out of business, right? You don't have a chance to recover. And one of the secret to Celsius success is really the team. This is not just me. I mean, the team has made all the right decisions again and again and again. We chose to do an app where everybody else had a desktop. When people looked at us, they laughed. They said, "Who's going to give you their coins on an app? You need a desktop version. You know, people want to do it on their computer. They'll feel much safer." But the security in an app is actually much better than the security on your desktop. And that's why we decided to start with that, make sure that we have all of the security stuff done, and only then focus on getting the desktop version going. Next slide. And again, this is a slide, you can see the coloring, right? This is 2018. These are all things that I've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years. You've probably seen this slide several times, but it's important to emphasize that again, a successful project requires all of these pieces. And when you look at all of our competitors, or when you look at other companies who are trying to do similar things, you will see that they have 1 or 2, but none of them has all 3 components. None of them has that flywheel. And these are the things that you really need to have to be able to deliver these services, because again, when you give away 80% to the community, there's very, very little left for the company. So again, so unless you make mistakes, unless you go in the wrong direction, unless you have a hack, right, you cannot recover from any of these things. So we raised the bar. We set the bar so high by giving so much to the community that really very, very few people, even though our basically our business model is open book, everybody knows what we're doing, it's very hard to copy it. Moving on. Next slide. I think you jumped one.
There we go.
So we talked about bringing the next 100 million people, right? And I said that many times, right? Less volatility and more utility, right? Look at what Celsius does. Utility, 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 right? We keep adding utility to the app. We keep doing more and more things where other people make money from volatility, right? They're basically, if you're on an exchange, they love volatility because it makes you buy and sell coins. You get nervous, you sell some, then the market recovers, so you buy some, right? That's the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be sitting on your hands and earning interest and not paying any fees, right? So all these things are things that you really have to pay attention to, because no one is sending you a statement in the end of the year and saying, hey, you paid $4,500 in fees, right? And you only have $25,000 or $10,000 in your account. But by buying and selling, you thought you were making money. No, the fees ate all of that money. So the toll collectors, it's the same toll collectors. They just like a bank, it's the same thing. They just eat away at your money, right? And what Celsius came up with is a model that does not make any money on fees, right? That's the secret of Celsius, that we, from the beginning, designed a business model that does not require any fees for us to be successful. You're successful, we're successful. Next. So the promise of crypto is to replace the middleman with middleware, right? I started seeing everybody now using these slides, at least using the quotes. They don't attribute them to the people who wrote them, but you know, this is a really simple sentence, but it means a lot, okay? Everybody in crypto is still trying to be a middleman, right? Every exchange, every system that tries to convince you to give them the assets to manage, they all middlemen, right? They're not middleware. They're not connecting you like Celsius does, connects you to the institution, connects you to exchanges to earn yield, connects you to DeFi to earn yield, right? All these other people are just middlemen charging you fees. Moving on.
I've noticed that Celsius is one of the only companies that's actually creating value for users, not charging to use their service. And that's like
right, exactly,
such a major difference.
Right. So other people rely on the fact that you already are sold on cryptos, you're sold on Bitcoin, and then they just want to nibble away at the fact that you're committed to this asset class, right? So they want you to sit in the class for as long as possible, and they'll be charging you fees every time you deposit or withdraw or transact, right? And just eat away at that asset class versus try to create value from the asset itself and then giving most of it to the community. So again, stop asking what Satoshi can do for you, meaning, Satoshi, make my Bitcoin worth 10 times more, and ask what you can do for Satoshi. And what we're trying to do with you is really, with Celsius, is to activate you, convince you to help us help other people, right? Become an ambassador, use the referral codes, educate people, create content, right? Enlarge the community, support the community. All these things are things that help Satoshi. They help Bitcoin become what it is. They help Ethereum become what it is. And that is the big difference. Are you sitting on the sidelines and waiting for others to do the work? Or are you going to be one of the people who get us across the finish line, gets us to new highs, and so on? Moving on. Next slide.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Maybe you need to clap your hands or something. No, isn't it the clapper? So this is the original founding team of Celsius, right? The people, every person on this team is here because they are committed to the cause. They didn't come to Celsius because we were paying fancy salaries or because we were giving people, free Uber, or because they wanted to get into a get rich quick scheme, right? Every one of these people wants to do good before they do well. And now Celsius is about to cross 100 employees, right? All over the world, which are all committed to this cause. They're all here working for you 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And these are the people we want to celebrate. These are the people that built your website. These are the people, the new website, right? These are the people that made sure that the app was safe and you didn't get hacked for the last 3 years, right? So all of this amazing effort is something that you don't feel. You don't go to sleep at night and you worry about all the things we have to worry about. You actually feel great that you have 100 people working for you to get you to retirement. And you know that your goals and their goals are exactly the same. So I want to take a moment and celebrate the people who got us here, right? These are the hardworking Celsians who are basically made their life's mission, right, to make this happen. And they sacrifice time with their family, they sacrifice time doing something else, or get rich quick to join Celsius and make this true. So let's go back. I think this is the last slide, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so let's go back to the regular programming and so covering a few more things. So we, like I said before, record deposits, record users, record income, we're gonna be buying record sell tokens and other crypto to pay you interest every week. So I'm very excited about that. The more we pay out, the more we also earn. So some companies go and say, oh my God, look how much we're paying these people, right? Can we lower it in any way? Let's cram it down. Let's give them less. And at Celsius, we think the opposite. The more we pay you, the more we get to keep as well in dollar terms. It's still the same in percentage terms, but it's a win-win arrangement for both of us. All right, so let's see what else. So I mentioned the ETH rate. Again, the new website.
Branding, yeah.
Love the branding, love the logo, the typeface, all the stuff that the team put together. We have right now 39 open job positions at Celsius, looking to hire 39 people. I posted on Twitter, I think 4 or 5, and LinkedIn, 4 or 5 openings just to kind of give you a teaser of what we're looking for. And if you think you're an exceptional individual, you believe in our vision, our mission, email us at hr@celsius.network and tell us why we need to hire us. Tell us why you're that special individual who can get Celsius going even further, who has a new idea for a new product or a new service, and you can help us build it or market it or make it safe, and we'll consider adding you to the team. So also very excited that most of our sell trades are done on Uniswap. I'm a big supporter of Uniswap. It is exactly what decentralization is all about. Allowing the buyers and the sellers get together, and all the fees go back to the community. I mean, it's just a beautiful model, very much a copy of what Celsius does as well. And I love that project, support that project. And we're looking to do many things with Uniswap to increase liquidity there, make it even cheaper for all of you to buy and sell, versus supporting some of the centralized solutions or some of the centralized guys who hijacked some of these decentralized projects. So I call on you as well to vote with Uniswap instead of things where you don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow, who owns it, what are the reasons behind it. We know that Uniswap reasons are aligned perfectly with what Celsius reasons are, to put you first, put the customer first, always act in your best interest. So these are very important things. And like I said in my tweet, you vote every day with your conscience. When you make a decision, when you use your credit card, when you use a centralized exchange, you're voting against decentralization. You're voting for centralization. When you're using a DEX, when you're using somebody like Celsius, you're voting for decentralization. You're voting to take the power from the centralized guys to the decentralized guys. So again, we have the lowest rates, I think, in the world. I don't think anyone is offering 1% loans or has ever offered 1% loans on crypto. And I still see people paying 11, 12%. When you get that teaser email from this or that company and it says, oh, right now, special rate, dig into the details. You're going to see 2% origination fee, right? Just to get your loan, you have to pay 2%, right? So the rate that is published is not a real rate. I can tell you there's no hidden fees. There is no gotcha. There's nothing with the 1% loan. You will pay 1% at the end of the year. That's it. So I just feel bad for people who call us and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, now I'm stuck with this company. I wish I could switch to Celsius. And we're like, well, we can't help you. I can't wrestle you out of the bad agreement that you got into in the other place, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because all of you know other people who are about to do it, or they just did it, or they're thinking about a loan. And you could be both. You can make some money on it, right? You bring a loan, you get $100. We almost gave away the store right there. 100 million people in cryptos. That's what I got confused. But you get $100 for bringing us a loan, and the person who joins also gets to benefit from it. So loans are very important for Celsius as well. That's what drives the flywheel. When we issue more loans, we earn more interest, we buy more Cell token. So it's a win-win-win. You get paid, Cell token goes higher, and the person you brought in is only paying 1%. The only losers are the banks and our competitors who are charging you 12, 14. Some of these guys charge 19%. Just crazy. And they only do that because the people who transact with them don't know that Celsius exists. So a lot of you were talking about the Spark token. Again, we had several conversations with Flare Labs, who is behind the Spark token on the XRP fork. It's not really a fork, but the good news is we're getting very comfortable that they're good guys. They're going to do the right things. And between now and December, we will come to an agreement with them on how to support our entire community. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to get those tokens or not? We'll take care of it. Detail will follow, and details, and we're working there for you to make sure that you get it. Again, we don't charge anything. We're not going to take a fee. We're not doing it because we get a piece or something. We're just doing that to accommodate the community. Very soon, next 30 to 45 days, you'll be able to swap in the app. So you'll be able to swap into sell or from any coin to any coin, token, and so on, very, very easily. One click and you're done. And I know many of you have been waiting for it. We could have integrated stuff 2 years ago. The only reason we didn't was we were looking for a service that, like Uniswap, will give you all the value, where the spreads are going to be as tight as possible, maybe less than half of 1% when you swap these things. So even better than going on Uniswap or going somewhere else, because we can do that in a way that does not have any exchange fees or gas fees or even DEX fees, right? So we're eliminating all those fees and delivering it to you for the best value. So the best place to swap these things is going to be with Celsius. And that's why it took us a very long time to push out all the middlemen, right? Middleware. We created middleware and replaced all the middlemen who used to basically make money on that spread. And unless you knew exactly how everything works and did the math, you didn't even realize that sometimes you paid 5, 6, 7% spreads on the swaps. You just saw a price and say, oh, this looks good, right? But the company that does the swapping for you usually keeps 5 or 7%. And these are never things that are in your best interest. So again, best of value in the wallet. We have the lowest fees on ACH. We have no fees on anything else. And the swapping service will be the lowest cost way to move from one token to another, or from token to a coin, or anything like that. So very excited about that as well. And the sell token is a long game, right? If you think about Gretzky, who was one of the all-time best hockey players, and a famous statement that he said, right? Don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck is going to be, right? So if you know what direction everything is going, and you're going to be there, you're going to be the first one there. And in his case, you're going to score the winning play. With Celsius, it means that we will be launching these things faster, better, and cheaper than anyone else. And Celsius has done, I think, a very good job. The team has done a very good job of being there before everybody else, being the first ones to pay you interest by just depositing your coins. No one has ever offered you that until Celsius. Now there's 100 copycats, including DeFi. Being the first one to offer you sell token in exchange for depositing some other token. You think it was compound, you think it was sushi, you think it was some other thing. It was sell tokens. So Celsius was the first one to come up with the whole concept. And Celsius still continues to innovate. And what you will see coming in from us before the end of this year is going to surprise you, because we're going to raise the bar and deliver even more for the community in ways that the rest of the people are going to be like, oh gosh, you know, instead of doing another fork of Uniswap, how come we didn't think about this? You know, this is so much better. Well, it's better for the community, not necessarily better for the guys who want to do an exit scam and just copy Uniswap or some other project and run away with the money. So, so again, all good. Things are going very, very well. Sell token is just rocketing. And it's all organic demand. There's no market making or manipulation or wash trading or anything. When you see the volume on sell token, because we would never go for it. We would never list an exchange that first charges you crazy fees and then wash trades 90% of the trade. So, but still, sell token has one of the highest volume. If you go on CoinMarketCap or going on CoinStats and look at the volume, the daily volume, Celsius has a higher volume than almost every DeFi project in the native token, right? So that tells you that the community is much larger, much more stable, and is a hodler community, right? And so the minute we finished digesting that one ICO seller, a little bit of good news, and it rockets 24% in 24 hours, right? If you were waiting for a better price, guess what? You missed it. It's probably not coming back to that level anytime soon. All right, Zach has a lot of questions for us from the community. Thank you for submitting them, and let's get started.
All right. First question here from Matt. He says, I have a bunch of coins and live in New York. Am I able to take a loan against them?
Is this the Matt that used to work for us? We had a great guy.
I don't know.
We had a great guy called Matt who was with us from the beginning. So yeah, look, New York has been open now, I think, for 4 or 5 months. New York State, not just New York City, and you can deposit and earn interest. Again, some of the highest interest. I think we're the only ones who are doing this legally, and you can also take a loan, right? If you have deposited Bitcoin or Ethereum, or I think you can even deposit Cell token. You can then take a loan against it. So the loan service is open, and the deposit and earn service is open as well. So we love New York. Here is I'll give you a quick view of the Manhattan empty streets. This is Lexington Avenue right there. I don't know if you can see it, but basically no recovery yet in New York from Corona. I mean, the streets are pretty much empty. I've never, on a Friday afternoon, all of Lexington Avenue will be back to back. It would take you an hour to get anywhere in the city, and today you can just you can walk in the middle of Lexington Avenue and you're not going to get run over. All right, so next question.
All right, from a huge fan, Otis. He says, a lot of crypto projects have been successful, and then the founder dumped on the users all of a sudden, like SushiSwap. What keeps you grounded in the game?
So look, first, if we were looking to dump, we would have done that in 2017. The easiest thing for us in 2017 was to open the ICO, immediately list on Binance, just give them $1 million out of the tens of millions of dollars that we raised, and just dump all the coins, right? I mean, if that was what we were going for, we would have done it 2 or 3 times already. So the principles here are that you are tested every day. You're tested during the great times, and you're tested during the very bad times. We went through a very long crypto winter, and it was much easier to just quit. It was much easier to say, look, we started the company, the winter just started, let's just give up, right? This is going to be hard, giving 80% to people during a crypto winter. So we've got tested for greed, and we got tested for grit, right? Because you need to have that grit to survive through that crypto winter. And the community got tested. The community was tested to trust us in the hate times, which is easy, right? Hey, you're making so much money, putting a little bit with Celsius. Well, what could go wrong? And got tested during the hardest of time, when you had to make a decision: do I sell, or do I just hodl and earn a little bit of interest? And the rates were, I think, 2.75%, because we could barely earn anything. No one wanted to borrow anything. So the rates were the lowest, and the community got together behind us and said, more utility, less volatility, right? So all the things I'm talking about are things that we went through several cycles, and not just me. It's the people who are here for 3 years, who didn't quit, who took a salary cut or a deferral, or said, you know what, give me half of it in Cell token. So everyone on our team has been tested and made the sacrifice and earned his keep several times over, because they voted for the mission, and they voted for, basically they showed that they have a spine, and that they care about other people, and they care about making the world a better place. I like this grit versus, right? That was a good one. I'm gonna use it again now. That was a good match. All right, let's keep going.
All right, Mark is asking, would you be able to share a quick update on the development of Proof of Community? What can we expect in the coming months?
So it's one of my favorite projects. Again, I'm not gonna spill the beans. I know the team is working very hard on putting all the pieces together. We are partnering with another blockchain on this, so we're not creating our own project. Like I said, 3 years in a row, there's plenty of amazing blockchains out there. Okay, creating yet another one is just hubris, right? So some of these people have spent 5, 6, 7 years building infrastructure. All we have to do is, again, bring more utility to that infrastructure. And what Celsius is doing here, just like we partnered with Chainlink, just like we partner with the Litecoin Foundation, right, and others, we're going to partner with a blockchain to deliver the transparency, the auditability, the proof of everything, right? Proof of community, but really proof of assets. So at any moment, you can just click a button and know from an independent source, a validator, right, that validates all the votes of the community to tell you, yes, there is $1.2 billion worth of coins that are still with Celsius. So these are things that are very important. It's half of the equation, right? The other half is, okay, how much did they earn? Can you track all the transactions on all the different blockchains? Because we support something like 20 something blockchains, right? We transact on Bitcoin, we transact on Ethereum, we transact on EOS, we transact on Litecoin, right? And so on and so on. So you have to track all those things, see what went out, what came back, how much was earned, was that distributed to everybody, or 80% of it distributed to everybody? Did I get, the individual, I only have $1,000 in Celsius. Did I get the pro rata that I was supposed to get, right? And those are the things that again, you can hire a giant auditing firm and do it once a year and pay them a lot of money, and then they'll give you a piece of paper once a year that says, okay, yes, 3 months ago at 12 o'clock, they did have all that money, right? But here, the blockchain will be doing that audit in real time. You can wake up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat and say, oh my God, is the money still there? Press a button and it will show you if the money is still there. That's the beauty of the blockchain, is that it's a truth teller 24/7, 365. That's why it's such an important project. Next question.
I just got a message from the team saying next week we're having an internal demo of Proof of Community. So very exciting that's
I guess they're watching. Hey, stop watching. Go back to work. We need you to finish all these things.
Okay, next question. Daniel's asking, what would you like to see Celsius become in 5 years' time?
Look, so our dream is that we brought 100 million people to financial independence. That's our dream. Like I get every day, I get messages from people saying, I reached the goal. I reached the goal. I just became financially independent. I'm earning now enough to pay all my bills, right? Every day I see people graduating into that class, right? And our goal again is to make something that no bank and no financial institution can brag about. Because again, all those guys just charge fees. They make money by slowing you down, not by speeding you up to get to your financial independence. So that's our dream. Again, we hit 100 million. Believe me, the next day we'll just set a new goal at 1 billion, right? So we're not stopping there and retiring on our laurels. We're going to be pushing even further. And I brought a special, what do you call it today? I brought a special, you see, Celsius, because we're raising the heat on the entire crypto community. You see, so I have this reminder. This is Galileo Galilei's invention of telling you what's happening visually, showing you what's happening. And our job is to keep the heat, make sure that we set the highest standard in acting in your best interest. And now we're dragging the entire crypto community. When I said that in 2017, people are laughing at me. People said, you're not going to convince Coinbase or Binance or these guys to do anything. They're giants. You're just a stupid ICO project in some magazine. Why do you think people are going to follow you? And the thing is that they're not following us. They're following the 165,000 users who left all these places and came to Celsius, right? They don't want to bleed more customers. That's why Coinbase started paying you interest. They don't want to bleed more depositors. That's why Binance stopped not paying you anything and started paying you interest. Now ask yourself, Why did they start now after Celsius has been around for 3 years? Why didn't they pay me interest before Celsius existed? Right? So the point is that we are dragging all these people screaming and yelling, BlockFi, everybody. They don't want to pay out these rates. We keep raising the rates. We're forcing them to raise the rates. And they're forcing the followers, right? The last guy in the line there to raise the rates. So these are all things that if we disappear tomorrow, I guarantee you, all these guys are gonna drop, eliminate, kill the service. No, okay, Alex is gone. We don't need to do this anymore. That was just an Alex special. You know, we can start charge double the fees. Let's go.
Jeez.
Next question.
All right. Mike is asking how much will Bitcoin be valued if the dollar heads towards zero? Are we ready for the Bitcoin standard?
The dollar is unfortunately heading towards zero. I don't know if you can hear it, but the bells are ringing for the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so look, the Fed is doing what it has to do. It doesn't have a choice. It has to print money. It has to fund the gap that was created by the coronavirus. But even before the coronavirus, again, the repo market, right, repurchase market, which is this obscure part of the economy, collapsed. Financial institutions did not trust each other, and the Fed had to jump in with $600 or $700 billion worth of liquidity, and they've never stopped. This was in September of last year. Now, most of you haven't heard about it, but that was a canary in the coal mine. That told you that there's a huge problem in the wholesale funding market. And basically, the whole dollar market around the world now is broken into like 3 pieces. You have the US market, which we live in, and we think everything is wonderful. The European market is its own animal. You cannot take credit, dollar credit, or euro credit from Europe and bring it to the United States and exchange those two. Already, those 2 islands operate completely in separate terms. And the same thing in Asia now, right? So inflation is already rampant. You're just seeing it in the price of Amazon. You're seeing it in the price of Apple and so on. Those things are going up in value because people are trying to grab these assets, thinking that those assets will save them from inflation, right? And the average Joe who just got a $1,200 check from the government doesn't know what to do with the money, right? They probably went and spent it. But the point is that everything you're earning is worth much, much less than you think it is. So Bitcoin is just a thermometer, like the one I showed you, that measures how bad the situation is. When you see gold going up, when you see Bitcoin going up, those things tell you that inflation is rampant. It's a dollar sinking. It's not, 1 Bitcoin is still 1 Bitcoin. But how many dollars it takes 1 Bitcoin tells you how bad it is, right? If it takes more and more and more dollars to buy 1 Bitcoin, that is inflation. That's the definition of inflation. Next question.
I like to ask, like my parents, how much was bread back when you were a kid? And they'll say, oh, it was 5 cents or 10 cents. And then now it's a few dollars. So I asked, right, did the bread become 20 times more expensive, or did the money become 20 times less valuable?
That's right.
All right, a question from Dimitri. Are you working to allow users to earn and borrow from a cold storage wallet like Ledger Nano?
So we had several discussions. I really like the Ledger guys. They do an excellent job on security. Again, they move a little bit slower than us. Again, they have much higher requirements for security, so they release software maybe once a year, right? So we do a release almost every month. So it's very hard to kind of integrate with these things and launch and get it going. So we are currently not supporting direct integration, but we will automate some of these transfers to make it easier for people with 1 click to basically go from one to another. So you're going to see us come out with utilities, but they're not going to be embedded in this or that wallet or this or that hardware key.
All right. John is asking, I'm earnestly expecting you to live a long, healthy life with many more years to come. That said, what happens if you get hit by a Mack truck tomorrow? How can we be assured that the 80% rule will be carried forward?
Sure. So first, look, I haven't left the house in I don't know how long, right? So, but also there are no, I don't see any trucks on 3rd or Lexington Avenue. They don't let them in anymore. They have nothing to do here. But no, I'm just kidding. Look, it's a good question, and if you look at the team, we haven't updated the team on the new website. We'll be adding a few more people that we hired recently. But when you look at that team, like I said before, all of them are committed to the cause. So it's not, we didn't hire somebody who would just come in and oh, I used to get $1 million bonus on Wall Street, and now I'm just going to suck it from Celsius. So everybody who comes to work with us is committed to the cause, understands the trigger and all the different things that make the flywheel go. And I can assure you that if I'm not here, or I'm incapacitated, or whatever, or suddenly I wake up and they say, okay, let's just keep all that money, my team is not going to let me do that. So they're not.
We would not.
Exactly. Or they're all going to quit, right? So we have a very strong bond, both internally, and so I don't think you have to worry about that. And again, we wouldn't be building proof of community if we wanted to hide how much we are taking or how much we're keeping and all that stuff, right? Because if you were planning to steal or planning to grab as much as you can, the last thing you would be doing, or planning an exit scam, the last thing you would be doing is promising more and more and more transparency, right? More and more and more audibility and real-time tracking by your community. So again, watch what they do, not what they say. And I think if you look at the last 3 years, show me one thing that Celsius has done that has not been in your best interest. Just one. Show me one example of something that we did not do in your best interest. Next question.
All right. George is asking, why does the total rewards paid on Monday vary throughout the week? Will this affect my end of the year 1099?
Yeah, so the reason it changes is because we pay you in Bitcoin, but we report it in dollars. So you look at it on Monday morning and you go, wow, I love Mondays. And then you look at it on Tuesday, it may have gone up or down because the same Bitcoin has gone up or down, right? So the earnings you have do change. They also, there is also obviously compounding interest. So if you wait a longer time, that's why a lot of people who look at their earning and sell, they get surprised. They're like, how can it be so much? I was earning and sell on some coins, but I didn't expect it to be 2 times more than I was getting on in kind, right? And the reason it's so much more is because of the compounding effect, right? So if you platinum and you're getting 35% more, and then it compounds, it will get to be 50, 60, 70% over several years, right? So what we're trying to do is really deliver that to you. And at the end of the year, we give you a 1099 that summarizes how much you actually got. So what IRS cares about is end of year, give me a timestamp of what is that, and we just print it out for them. That's all they care about, right? Last day of December, 12 o'clock, what was it worth?
Right, and like if you get paid 1,000 cell tokens in interest at 5 cents, now you've got those 1,000 cell token. But now if they're worth 55 cents, you keep all of that appreciation. So that's a huge upside of earning in cell.
Right, you pay tax on the value that was paid to you, not on what it's worth today. You only pay tax on the rest of it when you sell it. And that's why we urge you to take a loan. The reason you should take a loan is not because we're trying to make a little bit more money. We charge you 1%. Believe me, we're not making that much money. But you save so much on your taxes, you defer your taxes. Okay, just like Donald Trump does. That's like the richest people in America. I do that. You defer them as much as you can, and then you have much more money. You feel much richer. You have much more to work with, right? Which can continue earning, and you pay the government later. right? Some people die and never pay their taxes, right? So, well, you have to pay, you have estate taxes and this and that. But my point is that you can defer it forever. There's no rule that says you must sell your Bitcoin or you must sell your cell token. So each person has to make their own decisions. And again, we're not asking you to leverage, but by borrowing against it, you are creating some leverage. You are creating risk. That's not what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to balance the two, right? You have to decide how much you're keeping, how much you need to sell, and how much you borrow against. Next question.
Okay, Audrey's asking, why are you selling us ownership in Celsius? If it's so wonderful, why not keep it all for yourself?
So there are many reasons. So almost every company out there, every great company, if you look at it, will show you that they have investors. Sometimes these are financial investors, sometimes these are strategic investors. And the faster the company grows, the more it needs capital and the more it will raise in money from investors. Like my company, Arbinet, which was my first big success, right? It was a unicorn here in New York, raised something like $335 million back when, I'm talking about 20 years ago, right? When a dollar was a real dollar. That's like raising over $1 billion today, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason we had to raise so much money was because we wanted to win. We wanted to run ahead of everybody else, leave everybody else behind, and raising more money. We had something like 12 different venture capital investors. Was the right thing to do. So almost every successful company, look at any successful company, Facebook, anyone, you will see a bunch of great investors, financial investors, in most cases, who took a bet and put their money into this company, hoping that it's going to do exceptionally well. Celsius decided to do something very different, right? So Celsius decided, again, we decided that in 2017, that we have this amazing concept. I raised $1 billion from venture capital over 30 years, right? For my 8 companies, well, 7, not including Celsius. So the easiest thing for me would have been to take this business model, walk into the VCs that gave me money before and say, look at this. Okay, we created this amazing flywheel. The thing is gonna bring 100 million users. It's gonna throw off cash like crazy. But instead of that, we decided to open it up to the community, and we brought in 1,500 retail guys, right, in the ICO. And then we opened it again. The only second time we opened it was just now. We just finished with Bank to the Future, where we allowed 1,030 investors to give us basically just over $10 million. And we took another $10 million from Tether, which is a strategic investor. It's somebody that believes in exactly the same principles that I've been talking about for the last hour. So the reason to open it is, yes, we needed some capital. We wanted to have more capital in our balance sheet. And we did that when Cell Token was something like, I don't know, 10 or 12 cents. Right now, Cell Token is 50 cents, meaning if you look at how much Celsius has on its balance sheet now, we have half of the Cell tokens still sitting there. We haven't sold any of them, right? So we have something like $175 million. The company, Celsius, right? It owns 175 million worth of Cell token. It's a rich company. It's a fancy, rich company. And it has something like $25 million in cash. Right? So almost $200 million in total. So when you're thinking about, is Celsius safe? Yeah, it has $200 million in its own assets. This is not assets that people deposited or gave us to manage for them, all right? These are our own assets. Most of it is in tokens, but a lot of it is also in cash. So we wanted to have a better balance. We opened it up, invited our best friends, a strategic, and 1,030 people just like you who believe in Celsius. Most of them already own Cell as well. So these are things that almost no one has done. You show me another crypto company. Did Coinbase, you've been using Coinbase for a long time. Did they open the doors for you and allow you to come in? No, they will do that after they list on some exchange like NASDAQ and they're worth $30 billion. Then you can come in and buy the stock, you know? Celsius did the round at $120 million valuation, right? Celsius doubles every 6 months. We're growing faster than Coinbase. We're growing faster than almost every crypto company that you know, right? So These are all things we did not because we had to, we did because we wanted to. And I think aligning the interest, like I said, bringing all these people to sit on the bus with us, right next to me, right? With the same, I'm a equity holder, I'm a Cell token holder, I have millions of dollars in the Celsius wallet, right? I do exactly what you do. My interests are aligned 100% with yours. I would never do something to hurt you because it would hurt me as well. You don't have to believe my kind nature, right? Our interests are aligned. And again, point at some other exchange or at some other provider or another toll collector in crypto and show me how your interest and their interests are aligned. Or are they just a vendor or the counterparty to you? As Goldman Sachs said to the, the Senate hearing when they asked
trading
him about,
against our own customers.
Yeah, no problem. We'll do that all day long. The CEO of Goldman Sachs in a hearing in the Senate, right? Open hearing. So we want the opposite of that. And the reason this is so powerful is when the people understand that, they never go back. They will never go back and work with those other guys who are stealing from you every day. Because most of us are too busy. And switching from Bank of America to Citibank or switching from Citibank to JP Morgan doesn't do anything. We all know that they all are thieves, right? And I haven't said bad things about bank in a long time. So now it's probably I have to do a catch up. But that's why you have to unbank yourself, right? And you have to unbank yourself somewhere where hopefully somebody does care about you and is acting in your best interest. And you can get a seat on a bus right next to them. That happens very rarely. You can't even do that. Warren Buffett does that, right? Her Berkshire Hathaway is kind of that, but it's too late. I mean, it's already worth, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? You're not going to see that appreciation that you're going to see here. You want to be one of the early guys in, just like if you were one of the early guys to Microsoft or the early guys to Facebook or the early guys to Google, you would have done phenomenally well. This is it. This is the same thing. This meaning crypto, right? So you're betting on crypto. I didn't convince you to bet on crypto. And now we're all huddling together to make sure that we get there. Again, I have 80% of my net worth in this bus with you, okay? You're working with somebody else, ask them, how much of your net worth is in crypto? Side by side with me in the same product that I'm using. Next question.
All right. Drew is asking, will US residents be able to earn and sell tokens if they become an accredited investor? I'm working on becoming an accredited investor now that the SEC has modernized the definition.
Yes. I don't know about modernized. They changed it.
Yeah.
It is still, it's like a continuation of the last question, right? I mean, you think they modernize it? Do you think they're going to let you participate in Coinbase? If it's modern, you should be able to call Coinbase and say, okay, I'm ready. Here's my $1,000 check. They're not going to take it from you. So I would say they didn't modernize it. They amended it. It sounds much better than it is, but we are working on that. Again, you have to onboard with Bank to the Future, and we'll be announcing a program with them that will allow, hopefully, again, waiting for lawyers to tell us what we can and cannot do, but hopefully will allow accredited US investors to earn and sell instead of just earning in kind. Nothing changes for the existing guys. Just a few more people can earn and sell. Next question.
All right. In the wallet, are our coins protected from the government coming after them? Titan is asking.
Look, we are a fully compliant company, meaning if a judge orders us to do something, it doesn't matter if it's a US judge or UK judge or Australian judge or Japanese judge, right? I mean, if we are instructed to do something by law, we have to comply. So we're not here to protect your assets or hide them somewhere or do any of those things, right? We're just not. And our job is very simple. Our job is to help you hodl. That's why most of our tools help you hodl. They don't help you spend. And our job is to act in your best interest and earn as much as possible. Earn as many rewards as possible. We may earn them in sushi, and we may earn them in comp, and we may earn them in Bitcoin, and we may earn them in Cell. but they all result in higher yield in this or that coin. Sometimes it turns out to be a USDC rate. Sometimes it turned out to be a higher ETH rate, like we're publishing, 6.54%, right? Consistent. This is not like some gimmick or promotion or the first 100 people like on Binance every 7 days at 12 o'clock at night when no one's watching, right? So this is available to everybody, to the big fish or to the guppies, right? Exactly the same rate, right? And we have people calling us every day and saying, but I'm putting $10 million. Come on, Alex, you can afford to pay me a higher rate. Just take it from the little guys, right? And the answer is always no. No. We have $6, $7, $8 million coming in every day anyway. I don't need to break my, standards or what I believe in because I need your $10 million. No, you can go to the other guys.
We
They'll probably
want
do it.
more smaller depositors or users. We
That's
don't
right.
want, a few guys with tens or hundreds of millions. We want tens of thousands of people with a
Millions.
few thousand in crypto.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Antonio's asking, how long is the referral bonus active? I've referred several people, but they have yet to deposit $200 worth of coins. Will we lose out on the $20 bonus?
I don't think it expires when they deposit and they use your code, as long as they kept it for 30 days. And the reason for us to do this, it's important to explain it. It's not that we are, need to hold their money for 30 days. The issue is that when I have to trust something I've never done before, and I do it for 5 minutes, I deposit, I withdraw, it looks good, fine, But when I have to trust it for 30 days, that is a big commitment. That is a real showing of trust, right? And what we're trying to do is break that fear cycle. We're trying to have convince you that we're acting in your best interest, and in return, we're trying to have you show us that you trust us in return. Right, so the 30 days is supposed to bridge that gap of making people feel like, wow. And some people sweat over it. Some people, because they got scammed somewhere, or somebody stole their coins, or they lost their keys, or whatever. And what we're trying to do is really show people that we are trustworthy, that we do. Here is 4 payments. We're going to pay you interest 4 times in that 30 days. And so most people will feel like, okay, they actually do what they promised. They didn't charge me any fees. They paid me the interest. It earned additional yield through compounding. I actually got more than I thought I'm going to get. They didn't charge me any withdrawal fees, no origination fees, no surprise fees. And then they go and they start telling all their friends. That's how Celsius became Celsius, right? So yeah, it sounds a lot. People ask me, well, why don't you make it 15 days or 7 days? Well, $200, why don't you make it $100? We want you to make that commitment, you the user. Because we want you for the rest of your life. We're not here for the next 6 months, right? We want you for the rest of your life to trust us with all these assets, the gold, the silver, the crypto, and other things that are going to come in the future. Next question.
All right. Shlomo is asking, I keep hearing that DeFi is not that safe, that the whole system can implode during a liquidity event. Are we in a much better situation ourselves?
So again, we are not connected in any way to DeFi, right? We use DeFi as a yield generator. We only use protocols and platforms that we believe in. There obviously is a lot of hype, a lot of activity happening with anyone. A kid can just take fork this or that protocol, make a copy of it. Fork just means a copy, right? It's open source. I just took all the code from GitHub and I launched it on a virtual machine, and now it's running, and everybody can do everything they could on Uniswap, but I'm just gonna give you some other token that Uniswap doesn't give you. And as long as enough people come in, the prices go up, everybody's happy, right? But when everybody starts running to the exits, or the founder dumps all their coins on you or tokens on you, you start feeling the pain. So Celsius has a very experienced team that participates in a safe way in the value creation. So we are basically contributing liquidity to different pools. That is a much safer practice than actually buying shrimps or buying a sushi or any of those things. If you into fruits and vegetables, they go bad usually within 2 or 3 days, right? That's why these things are not long-term strategic investments where you're building your financial independence. So you can do it yourself. You can go and dig in, and if you're a great programmer or you understand smart contracts and you know all the tricks, yes, you could probably make some money, right? But most people lose money, right? The system wouldn't work if everybody was making money, because it works because the early guys, the people who either created the platform or got in early, make the money. The people who came later are funding the people who came in the beginning. Unfortunately, that is how all these systems work. And there's a term for it. It's called a Ponzi scheme, right? The later guys paying for the early guys, because the early guys dump their coins or tokens on the later guys, right? So again, the main difference between Celsius and all these other schemes is that we mostly lend to institutions. We actually earn interest, right? They pay us rent. It's like as if we had a building and people rented floors on the building. They just keep taking coins. They rent the coins and they pay rent. And we use that rent to pay you your interest. It's a sustainable business, right? Explain to me, any of you, explain to me how any of these DeFi, again, schemes are sustainable. I'm not talking about DEXs. I'm not talking about Uniswap. I'm talking about a DeFi project which showers coins and your tokens for you to participate, right? And when the music stops, meaning there's no more tokens, there's still going to be value created there. Where is the value? Where did it come from? Who paid for it? Other buyers of the same token, right? It didn't come, no one paid rent. No one used the service to create value and then shared with you some of that value in the form of rent or payment or interest, right? So apples and oranges, or sushis and the shrimps, right? So I don't know how long it's going to last. It may go 10 times higher before it crashes. Again, there are safe areas of DeFi and there are very risky areas of DeFi. And we're trying to stay with the safe ones. Again, I think we have something less than 5% of our assets right now in any kind of DeFi related stuff. And most of that would be like with Compound, Maker, things like that, where we know exactly, both we audited the protocols, we know exactly what the use case is, we know we can recover our assets. So the only thing at risk is the interest itself that we're collecting from a smart contract. And these are much safer bets than buying, you know, YFI or buying sushi or anything like that. And I think Celsius just crossed sushi, right, in rankings. So sushi's going down, Cell tokens going up, and I think it will continue. So, all right, next question.
I just got a report that the individual that took $14 million worth of sushi returned it to the community chest. So I think his conscience got back to him.
It's either the conscious or the authorities.
Yeah, one of the two.
He might have got a call from, you know, from the authorities and said, we have a, you know, a car on its way to your location, this and this address. You have 20 minutes to return the coins or you will be taken to jail, right? So look, again, there is an honest way to earn a living and there is really bad ways to earn a living. And we chose the honest way. We not just chose the honest way, we opened it to everybody, and everybody's trying to copy us. They just don't copy the hard part of it, which is building a community, signing up 300 and something institutions, working 7 days a week to lend everything out and collect and distribute interest and everything else. That's hard. It's much easier to just copy a protocol, give it a different name, shower your coins on everybody, and hope that nothing bad will happen. Next question.
All right, Caleb is asking, can I convert my dust in the wallet into Cell token or some other coin?
Look, the transactions fees are so high right now that it's not worth doing anything. I think when you see a lull in the transaction value, if it drops by 90%, it makes sense to convert that. Great, you should do it. But today, I would just leave all that stuff alone and just focus on, you know, hodling and earning interest on your core assets.
All right, we're down to our last two questions here. Robert is asking, if we see a second wave of financial collapse, worse than what we saw in March, is Celsius well positioned to handle this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, so we went through several catastrophic events. I mean, since 2017, right? You have to understand that when something rockets up, it's just as dangerous for us as something going way down, right? Because when we loan assets, we have to worry, is the person, for example, shorting it? Because if they're shorting it and the price of ETH is just going through the roof, they might not be able to return the assets for us, right? So we need to know for every institution, what are they using it for, how it's going to be applied, what is their risk parameters, how much do they have in assets, can they return it to us? And we're fast on the trigger to require additional collateral or calling back the loan, saying, look, you're outside of your parameters, we're calling back the loan, right? Which is similar stuff to what financial institutions do when you take a borrow from them, like when you borrow Apple stock or Tesla, right? A lot of people got stuck shorting Tesla and the thing just went through the roof. So for us, it's not just down market, it's also up market, right? And we've been tested several times since 2017. Again, March 12, just this year, March 12, Bitcoin went down 50%, peak to trough in less than 24 hours, right? And that's a major, major test, right? We had hundreds of margin calls, right? All these institutions returned or paid or provided more collateral. So are we ready for it? Yes, we're ready for a disaster. We always have enough reserves. We never are 100% deployed. And the biggest really kind of catastrophic event for us is if everybody tomorrow decided to withdraw their assets. Something happened and they all said, we don't trust Alex anymore, we don't trust Celsius, we want all of our coins back. So I always say that almost on every AMA. Celsius today, as of today, has plenty of assets. Like I said, over 200 million, close to $200 million on excess above. If we had to return all the assets to all of our users, it would be about $200 million left, which should make you feel comfortable that your assets are not at risk with Celsius, right? It's not like we have a negative balance sheet or, you know, we lost some of these assets. We have not had any of these events. So, a much more catastrophic event for us is the community bailing out on Celsius. Yes, we can go to all of our borrowers. We can call all the loans. It might take 2 or 3 days, but we can do that, and then we can return all the assets, right? And we have to face ourselves and say, okay, what did we do? What is a mistake that caused so many people to walk away? So we are ready for that scenario as well. All of our contracts, everything is written in a way that allows us to do that. And obviously, we don't want any of that to happen, but we are prepared for the dramatic downsize or downturn, both in the economy or the price of these assets, or a huge increase, right? If the dollar crashes, Bitcoin goes up, it may go up 10 times, right? Like in a few hours, it can go and become $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 if something really bad happens to the U.S. economy or the U.S. dollar. Next question. Last question.
Well, great comment from Nick first in the chat. Is the maintenance still on for tomorrow? Maintenance of the app?
I think you were answering that, right, Zach? You had the answer.
Yeah, it's planned. It's going to be to add more features to the app, refine everything, add some stability fixes. So there is planned maintenance going on tomorrow, and there will be a email sent out to everybody giving more details.
Yeah, I know we had some crashes on some Android phones. And so there were some issues related to some versions of Android that were not stable. So I think we're fixing some of that in this release, also trying to speed up the app and eliminating all these logouts and things like that people were complaining about. So, and we have another release in I think 2 to 3 weeks, which is also going to add a lot of new features. So rapid fire here of new stuff coming out of Celsius. That's it. That's our last question. Or you have one more?
I got one more from Sandeep. It's asking, if the dollar is going down in the long run, is it wise to put money in stable coins?
Look, it is a risk. I mean, stable coins are a risky business, but when you're earning 11, 12, 15%, that obviously mitigates a lot of the risk. So I had somebody email me earlier today about this, saying, okay, look, you know, I want to hold the stable coins. I want to wait for Bitcoin to crash, and I want to grab them when they crash. And that's a great plan, because if you're earning double digits and you're waiting for that flash crash, and you can just convert it and capture Bitcoin, let's say at 8,500 or whatever. I think support is 85, 8,600, right? A bit below 10,000. So if it happens, it's not going to be there for a long time. So grabbing it right from stable coins, buying Bitcoin is a great move while you're earning interest, while you're waiting for that crash. So again, not financial advice. You know, my preferred method is to just buy a little bit every month. That's what I do. I just buy a little bit. I don't care what the price is, right? It's Friday. I just press the button and I buy some Bitcoin, right? So, and over time, like for me, I think there were maybe 4 days in which I was down. My average price was higher than what the total price for Bitcoin was, right? So because I've been buying for such a long time, right? So, but it's never a bad time to start, right? You can start it now and it looks scary and you're like, oh my God, I'm buying at the top. It doesn't matter, because if it drops, you just keep buying and you average down, as long as you have that commitment and you say, okay, I'm going to take 5% of my salary every 2 weeks and I'm going to buy something, right? So these are, I think, much better practices. Most of us don't have the time to watch the price and catch that spike. And usually it happens on a Sunday at 11 o'clock at night, when Asia is doing something crazy and the Americans are not awake, or it's a holiday weekend or whatever, right? So the chances you're actually going to catch it right when the V recovers are pretty low. So averaging your price is a tested and true strategy that works very, very well on Wall Street, and it should work for you as well. Thank you guys very much. This is amazing. Again, we crossed 100,000 users on Twitter. YouTube now is 23,000 or 24,000. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just doubling every few months. So I really want to thank you for your support and your trust, and for allowing us to do what we do. We enjoy this every day. I'm telling you, like, we are getting paid too much to do this. I'm having plenty of fun, and working from home, I spend much more time with my kids. So it's a dream come true for me. And keep sending those emails. Like I said, thank you emails I get every day, 5 or 10 of them, of people who either tell me they're retired, or they're achieved financial independence, or they're thanking me for what we're doing. Again, the team appreciates it. And Zach, thanks for narrating this and helping us with the questions. And again, Zach runs all of our community efforts. Many of you talk to him every day on Telegram or on other channels, and he also runs ambassadors. If you want to become an ambassador, you'll be talking to Zach more than I do, right? And you can help us, you know, trailblaze this path to 100 million users out there. And we had great content this week, by the way. I was on the Kitco, stuff on LinkedIn, plenty of articles that came out. So if you missed those, I posted them both on LinkedIn and Twitter, and they're also going to be added to our YouTube channel and our website, and plenty of content for the Celsian community. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everybody.